Alright, welcome back, Codex. Today's project is PS05, which is our Photoshop assignment to make an advertisement. We're going to start by finding a background image and also finding a subject that we can use as our advertisement. We're trying to sell something. So think about what you would like to sell with this advertisement, and we're going to create an image that will attempt to sell that for us. I'm going to open up Photoshop, and you should see it pop up in just a moment. Alright, let's talk about the things that we need to do. We need to go up to File and go to New, and we're going to create a new letter-size document. If you've already created a letter-size document, it should show up here in this list as something you can select. If you haven't made a letter-size document in Photoshop, simply go up to where it says Print up here and choose the letter-size document. I'm going to rename this right now, so right over here on the right where it says Untitled 1, I'm going to call this PS05. It's our 5th Photoshop document of our semester. Then I'm going to press Create, and I have my letter-size document here. If I wanted to draw some guides, I could, but it's not really necessary for this particular project. All right, let's talk about the things that we need. We need a background layer. So you can choose to find an image. I'm going to go online and try to find some kind of musical background. It's going to be called PS05. 05. So I'm just going to search for a musical background in the images section, and we got some nice looking different images here. You want to find a background that works for you. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that is already an image here. You could just create a layer if you want. I'm going to pick this one because I like the way this one looks. So I'm going to right click on it and go copy image. I'll go into Photoshop and press Ctrl V, and now I have that image pasted into my assignment. Letter size. Now that I have it pasted into my document, you can see I have a layer down here. I'm going to double click on the layer name, and I'm going to change what it's called. I'm going to call this Music Background, or BG. If you can't change it, it may be that you are in the middle of resizing something, and if you have resized something, it's not going to let you do anything until you either double click on the image that you're resizing, or you click on the little check mark up here on the top right. So once you double click on the thing that you're resizing, now if you double click on the name of the thing that you want to rename, down here in your layers section, you should be able to change what it's called. Alright, now I have my background layer. Now I want to put in the thing that I'm trying to sell. So I'm going to put an image of an automaton, which is what I'm trying to sell. I'm going to search for automaton. And these are all pretty good. I want the one that I found earlier. It looks like a bear. I like this one. So I'm going to right click on this and go to copy image. And I'm going to paste that image here into my picture here. And now I've got it here. I'm going to resize it to make it nice and big. And then I'm going to double click to finalize my transformation. So now you should have a big version of whatever you're trying to sell here. Alright, I'm going to use the magic wand tool, which is up here in the top left. It's going to be below the lasso. If you click and hold your mouse on this section, you should see that you can choose either quick select or magic wand tool. I'm going to choose the magic wand tool for this one. And now I'm going to click in the white space that is around my object here. Now I'm going to do something a little bit different this time, and it may help you out if you want to take out an object and not have that white box that surrounds the object that you have to paint out. I'm going to show you a way to get rid of that white box from the get-go. So how do we do that? Well, I'm going to show you a new type of selection tool. If you click up here on your rectangle, the rectangular marquee, let's take a look at these top 4 things that are in the top left of our window here. I'm going to zoom in here so we can see them. I have my rectangle marquee selected, which looks like the little marching ants of a rectangle. And up here on the top left, you'll notice there's some different options. There's choose a selection. There is add to selection. There is subtract from selection. And the one that we're going to use, which is intersect with selection. I'm going to click on this box right here, the intersect with selection, and we're going to see what this does. Right now I have this white space here selected. What I want to do is I want to select just the object here, the automaton here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and go to select inverse. Now I have just the automaton selected, and I have all of this stuff on the outside also selected. But I don't want all the stuff on the outside selected. I just want the thing that's in the middle. So that's why I'm going to choose this intersect with selection box up here. Now whatever I select, it's going to pick and select only the things that intersect with what is already selected and what I drag a box around. So I'm going to drag a box around just the automaton, and you'll notice now the selection no longer has the stuff on the outside selected. It only has the automaton, or the thing that I want inside, selected. Now if I press the mask button down here on the bottom right, which looks like a little rectangle with a circle cut out of it, this will mask just that one object, and now you're not going to see anything except for that one object. I don't have to go around the outside and paint to take away the outside of the object, or the little white square that would normally appear. Now it just shows that one object. Very useful thing to know how to use this intersect with selection option. Makes it very easy for you to select a very specific part of an already made selection. Alright, down here I can see that my automaton is called layer 1. I'm sorry? Delete it entirely? So you would want to use the select tool, or the rectangular marquee if you want to delete something. Let's say I wanted to delete the top part of this automaton. I can use the rectangular marquee here in regular mode. I'm going to select just the top of it, and if you press delete on the keyboard, it'll take it away. Alternatively, if you wanted to mask everything except for one area, you can select an area and click on that little mask tool, and it will also make it to where you don't see it. Alright, so I've got my object, I have my background. Now I have to write some kind of text that tells about the object. The first thing that I need is a large text that says what the object is. And I want this to be eye-catching, so I'm going to make it real big. I selected the text tool, and now I clicked down into the area, and I'm writing down what it's called. It's called automaton. You can see it kind of went off of the screen. That's okay for right now. Once you have typed out the title of what it is, you can press either the Enter key on the keypad, on your 10 key, or you can click on the little check mark that appears in the top right. Either way. Or you can select a different tool, like the Move tool, and then you can move around that object. So here I have my automaton. Let's say I don't like how big this is, and I want to make it bigger. What I can do is I can choose the Move tool right here. Make sure that your Show Transforms box is checked in, and now I should be able to resize this to make it however big I want. I'm going to make it nice and big like this. There we go. In fact, I'm going to tilt it, moving it this way. How can you tilt something with text? Well, if I have it selected here with the Move tool, I can hover my mouse just a little bit outside of one of these squares here, and you'll see that your arrows become kind of a tilt, like a tilted arrow. This allows me to click and drag to shift over the which angle the text tool is pointed. So I'm going to tilt this title so it looks a little more eye-catching. That's pretty cool. I like that. And now I've got pretty good message right here. However, what I want to do is I want to make it easier to read this. So I'm going to put a stroke around it once I'm done with it. I like this so far. Now I need a smaller text box that describes what it is I'm trying to sell, or somehow convinces me to buy it. I'm going to click and put another image down here, or another text layer. Alright, so after I've typed out my text, I'm going to use the Move tool to move it where I want. I'm also going to resize it to scale it about where I want it to be so I can make it easy to read. Now what's the problem with this text? What's the problem with this advertisement? Does anybody see something wrong with this? Samantha, do you see anything wrong with this advertisement? There you go. You can't even see what's written, right? So we have to change that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a shape that I can put behind this text layer. I'm going to click on the Custom Shape tool like we've used before. I'm going to set it to Shape mode. And I'm going to change the shape into like a box that I can put behind this. I'm going to use this shape right here. I'm going to click and drag that shape out. And now I can make it whatever color I want by changing the fill right here. I'm going to make it a white square. Up here on the top you can also see some different controls like the stroke control. The stroke control allows you to draw a line around the outside of that shape. So I'm going to click on that stroke control and make a black line. The size of the line will be right here. You can click on this and make it bigger if you want. See that a line gets drawn around the outside of that object. Perfect. I've got my shape. Now the problem is, of course, that my text is behind this shape. So in order to read it, I'm going to have to take the text layer down here and drag it on top of that text, or the shape. So now I can see it a little bit easier. I'm going to resize my message a little bit. There we go. I've got almost everything done. The last thing that I need to do is, well, I'm going to move my automaton a little bit, so that way you can see it. There we go, I like that. The last thing that I want to do is I want to add a stroke to my big text here. To add a stroke, you first click on the layer that you want to add a stroke to. In this case, I'm going to add a stroke to the automaton layer here. You just double click to the right of where it says the name of that layer, and you should see this box pop up, the layer style box. I'm going to select stroke, and when I pick stroke, you can see that it's going to pick a stroke around the outside of my layer. I'm choosing outside. I'm choosing the color that I want that stroke to be. I'm going to make it match the same color as the rosy cheeks of this automaton. If you have the color picker open, you can click anywhere on your document and it will turn your color to that color. So here I can click anywhere on my document and it will make the stroke that color. I'm going to pick the rosy cheeks of the automaton. There we go. Now I press OK. I can make the size bigger or smaller of the stroke around the outside of the text. That's good right there. Now I press OK. And I'm about done. Here we go. Who could argue with this advertisement? Annoy everyone around you with ease. Buy one today. Perfect. All right. I'm going to rename my layers just to clean this up. This is my automaton layer. Now I wanted to show you one last thing before we continue on. And that is grouping layers. Notice if I use the Move tool and I move this text layer, that it moves the text layer, but it doesn't move the text box below it. I want it to move the whole thing. I want the text box and the text to move. You have a few ways to do this, but one is to create a group of layers. To create a group of layers, it looks like a little folder down here in your layers menu. If you click on this folder, it creates a new group. I'm going to call this, I'm going to double click on it and call it the text group. Now in that text group, you're going to see that there's a folder that has a little diagonal arrow that can show everything that's in that text group. I'm going to drag my text box, which is this one. Let me rename it text box. I'm going to drag this into the text group. And now you can see that it's inside of that folder. If I click on this little tab next to it, I can see everything that's inside that text group. Now I'm going to drag that text on top of that folder. And now if I select just this folder, when I move it, it should move everything inside of it. So I selected this text group. I'm going to make it not auto-select the layers. I'm going to turn off auto-select. And now when I move it, it's going to move the text box as well as the text. Excellent. We're going to revisit why we do this and how it can be useful later. Just know that I would like you for this project to create a text group and put your text stuff inside of that folder. I'm even going to put the automaton one in there. There we go. So I can move all of these layers at the same time by clicking on this text group right here. Alright, I've got all of my stuff ready. I've got my automaton picture, which I can move around here. I've got my text groups here, which I can move around separately. That looks pretty good right there. Alright, I'm all ready to save this and export it. So I go to File, Save As. I'm going to save this as PS05 as a Photoshop document. So I'm going to press Save, then OK. Then I'm going to go back up to File and Save As one more time. And I'm going to change its file type from Photoshop to a JPEG. I'm not going to rename it. I'm just going to press Save. And I'll press OK with it at the maximum quality. Alright, turn this into Schoology for full credit. I hope you enjoy this process. The main things that you need a background image. You need an object that you're going to take off of its background. You need a large title, which shows what it is you're trying to sell. And you need a small text thing with a text box around it that says something about why you should buy it, or a price, or something of that nature, something that convinces you to buy this object. Alright, I hope you have fun with this. I'll talk to you again soon.